What would happen to your mower if you hit this? You see, at this exact moment, we hit a car coil spring. Then we cut a hammer in half. We ran over wood, rock, debris, whilst cutting some of the gnarliest grass you've seen. And after cutting for well over an hour, hitting all the debris that we just talked about, we then put it through the longest grass of the day, most of it over 900 millimeters high. You might ask why. The reason is that I wanted to test out the claim that the Gravely Mach 1 is the best rotary ride-on mower for overgrown high volume grass. And so we put it in some of the most challenging lawn areas that we could find. But I didn't just want to test the mower in overgrown conditions. I wanted to talk to the people who use the mower on a daily basis, the guys who sell and repair the mowers, the people dealing with the warranty claims, the people who are importing them in and asking for specific design changes for the Australian conditions. I wanted to talk to them and see what their real world experiences are. Here's what they had to say. So Nick, you've got about a dozen guys.
Yep. Acreage
mowing is essentially all you do.
Yes.
You were using a different brand, you've just moved to this. Why?
The high velocity output deck was a big reason why we moved over. What we've noticed with a lot of our properties, especially throughout the year when it does get too wet and you can't mow as consistently as you'd like, the next time you come back the grass is a lot longer. The HVO deck does actually do a lot better job of clearing that grass and allowing the mower to continue moving through without bogging down. Other brands we've used without that, we have noticed that we are a lot slower going through that sort of grass, and it's definitely helped us a lot more in productivity, that's for sure.
And so in a real world, does that mean that you are, is it just that you're cutting faster, or you're able to do it in one pass, you don't have to do it again?
Both, yeah. No, it's definitely, obviously being that the spindles are set back further and the deck is like a little bit longer, it lets that grass stand up under the deck, which means you are getting pretty much a first time cut every single time. And it is removing that grass and discharging it at a lot better rate as well. So, you better cut for longer grass, and we're doing the jobs quicker, so it's a positive all round really.
What other parts about the machine have you found that are really helping your business that maybe people don't expect?
Obviously it's still got the Kawasaki FX 1000V, which is quite a powerful machine. It's probably one of the bigger engines you can get on a mower this size. That's been really helpful. Obviously the deck height adjustment's really cool. A lot of the other companies, or the brands I should say, they've got like a pin which you often lose or it can fall out of brake. This one's like a spin wheel, which is pretty interesting, so something different. It's actually really light as well, this machine. So compared to our other machines, I think it's sort of roughly 100 kilos lighter, or nearly 200 I should say. So wet areas and stuff like that, we're finding we're able to get in with this machine, whereas the other ones wouldn't be able to, due to like leaving muddy tyre prints and stuff like that.
And what did you think about what we're cutting over here?
We've done bigger. I wish we could have done that today. Yeah, we've tackled some really overgrown properties with this, and honestly, stuff that's well above the height of the mower. I can drop some photos for you and you can pop them in there as well. But yeah, we've tackled some monsters with it, and it's been fine. Really, no issue at all.
I'm assuming with that, you've got to do multiple passes. You've got to take your time. At that point though, you're still doing those much faster than you were experienced before.
In terms of like the mower being able to move through the grass quicker, yeah, 100%. Yeah, no, I've come across it. I mean, even what we were just doing then, when that grass does collect under the deck, I find that it just is nearly non-existent with this deck design. The other ones do tend to clump quite a lot, and then you are slowing down and bogging down. You're having to change your heights a lot just to try and clear that grass, as opposed to with this one you can nearly, obviously, if you're not going to get it all exactly that first hit, it's not far after with the second run with this machine. And so I've found, at least, yeah.
So you told me before about tyres. What's the difference with these and the ones that you've used before?
Well, these are what they call a semi-pneumatic tyre, so there's no air in them. For us, that's a big saving for potential downtime. So if we've got guys out there and they puncture the front wheel, there's an hour to the shop, maybe half an hour there getting it sorted, an hour back. By the time you pack everything up and move, and then if you've got two in the crew, big downtime. We love it because we don't have to worry about those front tyres at all.
I don't think people understand how expensive it is when something small like that happens.
No, probably not.
It's not just like a tyre plug or a new tube, because you go take your guys, maybe a couple of them in a crew, off the road, back to the shop. You have to reschedule work. You have to say no to other stuff if you're absolutely full.
Yeah, correct.
Those things, when they stack up, really hamstring a business, especially like middle of peak season. So I can totally see small things like that, big benefits.
Massive, yeah.
All right, Jake, how you going, man?
Good, mate, yourself?
How long have you been a dealer for?
Gravely, about 4 years now.
All in total running a mowing shop?
History of my sort of lifetime, about 14 years.
So 14 years, relatively new with these guys. How have you found working with this as a brand, Gravely as a brand, compared to maybe some other brands?
One word is just outstanding. Just the service from Gravely, the quality of the product, the spare parts availability. You just can't beat it. Just all I can say is you can't beat it.
So I guess the spare parts from your perspective, if you're running behind, you're getting heat
Yes,
from your supplier not getting you the spare parts.
correct.
So what's that experience like?
No, not mention names, but other brands is just make phone calls, emails. The sporters, there's no ETA. Where Gravely, they'll give you ETA dates. They'll airship, air freight stuff that they have to get you and your customer out of trouble.
How is servicing these machines compared to some other brands?
Service of the machines. We're running the Kawasaki engine. Very easy access to the engine. Blades, belts, very good design on Gravely on my part. Especially with their easy function lids on their decks and their trays and that. Yeah, very good.
You could sell any mower you wanted. Like, you're free to go pick any other brand. Why are you going with this?
I'll choose the Gravely one because, like I said, like the support from Gravely themselves. Like out of any other brand I've dealt with, the support from Gravely, it's a phone call, matter of phone call, and then the distributor is on your case. Gravely's email, boom, they help you straight away. Just the design of the machine, the comfort of the machine, and the build quality you can't beat it.
So you got this confidence that when you're selling something, you're standing behind it. You're not going to get back in your shop. Not gonna get angry customers.
I'm 100% satisfied every machine I deliver to Gravely that I'm confident that it will not be back. And if it does, worst case scenario, because every brand has issues like we all know, Gravely are there by your side.
You'll say it's easier to deal with Gravely from your perspective. Does that mean like they're a day quicker with parts, 2 weeks quicker with parts? In the real world, like, what does that actually look like?
It can be down to a day whether they rob a machine for you, like they do rob requests. A lot of other brands don't like doing that, but if Gravely wants to get you and your customer out of trouble, they're happy to do it. Last year, obviously, we had a massive season last year, the mowing season. A lot of other brands struggled and then was 3 to 6 months wait on cargo ships to get even just simple blades. Where Gravely went the extra mile for dealers, and they even had to air freight if they had to get customers out of trouble and dealers out of trouble. Down to the service part of Port of Gravely too, so down to your IPL drawings, very easy as a dealer point of view for IPLs, looking at parts.
So what's an IPL mean?
Internal parts lookup.
Right, not Indian Premier League.
No,
Okay,
unfortunately.
yeah.
Like I was saying before, and if there's issue from a dealer perspective, all I got to do, I can make a simple phone call to the team at Gravely, even my local Gravely rep, and then within 12 to 24 hour turnaround, I've got an answer from Gravely themselves, and basically parts ordered, customers aware of it, he's good as gold.
I think people don't realise how stressful and difficult it is as a dealer to run a business. They think you're just selling a mower and it's easy. But it sounds like this is making the challenging stuff that happens in business a little easier.
It does, a lot easier. Compared to other brands, yes.
So does it make you want to not sell other brands if they're too difficult to deal with?
To be honest, if I could just have the one brand, I wish I could, but unfortunately the market as it is now, it's very huge. But like I said, Gravely, you can't beat Gravely. It's as simple as that. It's the best way to put it, you can't beat them.
Mate, how you going?
Very well, thanks.
What's your name? How long have you been in the industry?
My name's Chris. I've been with PLP for just on 10 years now.
And 15 years selling mowers before?
Previous to that, I was the other side of the counter. So worked in a retail shop as a PLP customer. So at that time, we were selling predominantly Bush Ranger and a couple of other brands that PLP managed. And after finishing up with retail, I rang my rep for a reference and was promptly told no, have a job instead. So yes, my never again for power equipment lasted from a Thursday afternoon to starting here the following Tuesday morning.
Now, what's your role with these mowers?
Okay, so my role is predominantly service warranty department, also a little bit with customer service, and I cover the Northern Territory as a sales rep.
What's your experience like then, customer service, warranty claims on Gravely machines?
From my perspective, I've never met a manufacturer so good at attending to issues. So I've dealt with a lot over the years that are very happy to stick their head in the sand. These guys are almost keen for us to identify problems to allow them to improve machines. So their test procedures in the US are well above anything I've seen in any competitive brand. They, as I said, do not look to bury their heads in the sand. We came up with something, with a concern. They were able to replicate that inside a week in their test facility and come up with a solution for us within weeks. With the previous couple of brands that we've dealt with, that would have been a year-long process if we were able to have any success at all. So these guys look at Australia as a testing ground. If they can make a machine that will work here and that they can get the longevity from, they know they can sell it anywhere in the world without issue.
Because that's one of the biggest things that, like, this is what I actually created the Australian Lawn and Garden podcast for, is I was getting information on the internet that was like really good to a point.
Yes.
Because then you go, oh, you guys are cutting ryegrass, or you guys are cutting tall fescue.
Yes.
And I want to know, like, what's it going to do in Buffalo? What's it going to do in Kikuyu? What's it going to do in our really hot, dry climates, in our conditions, with our stuff? Okay.
So to give you an idea on the test facility that Arians Gravely use, they have an area set up at one of the NASCAR tracks, acre upon acre, and it is seeded and grown with different grass types so that they can replicate any condition. When they take those units out onto that test field, what they'll typically do is put several hundred sensors all over the chassis of the machine, the engine, the transmissions. So they're sensing vibration, sound, everything through that frame. So they'll run that so that they're feeding all that input in. They can then take that machine into a shaker table in the test area, replicate so all exactly the same instances that they were finding in testing. They can then accelerate that to 10 times, 20 times. So we can do a month's worth of testing essentially in a day or two.
So working in warranty, what's an average day like?
So day starts fairly early for me. I try and get in bright and early before there's too many people in. I also attend to a lot of the social media. So if we get inquiry from customers, any customer complaints that need attending to.
So someone complains on social media, they send it to you?
Yes, yep. So there's a couple of us, but I cover off the bulk of it, except for if I'm travelling or something. So I'll go through, attend to any of the customer service side of things predominantly. Then it's a matter of going through, it can be anything from freight damage, if we've got a forklift driver that's a bit how you going at a depot somewhere in Australia.
Don't be excited, yep.
That's typically going to be the last machine of that model we've got in stock. We'll be out of stock after that one.
And it would have just nicked the fuel container or something like that.
And prepaid by a customer, I can guarantee you every time.
Yeah,
No
and going
chance
to
of waiting.
the most remote corner of Australia. Anyway, yes.
Yes, so we'll repair freight damage stock in-house before it's dispatched to customers. A lot of product testing. So if Gravely come up with a new model, previous to that being dispatched to market, it's bought in, we go over it thoroughly, see what we can break, improve that. Once we get it to a point we can't break it, we're happy to add the PLP name alongside Gravely.
So when you're trying to break it, you're going out to some test sites?
Yeah, so we've got several test sites. We've also got a lot of commercial guys, a lot of farms around the area that put a lot of hours on machinery that are happy to help us out with a lot of that testing process. Depends a lot on what the machine is as to where the best application for testing is. But essentially what we don't want is, to use a log splitter as an example, I don't want a log splitter going out on demonstration cutting beautiful clean pieces of pine. We want to simulate real world simulations. So we do not want something that's a demo that's made for a catalogue essentially is not what we're after.
You want it to be used.
We want it under specifically heavy use.
You'll be glad to hear that when we were filming today, we hit a hammer.
Excellent.
And a leaf spring, like an actual coil. Is that your machine?
Yeah, that's all right.
Not
I
theirs.
hit that much shit every day anyway, so.
Love it. I'll see that machine next week.
I'm going to show you. You might actually. No, they kept running. And then actually, the bulk of the filming that we did was after that.
Yes.
So if people are looking at the cuts and they're like, oh no, they've staged this. No, we hit a hammer, cut through the fiberglass handle, and there's a chip out of a leaf spring and probably a bigger chip out of the steel on the blade. That's, and the guy was like, oh yeah, cool, sweet.
Yeah, no,
Moving on.
We're very rough on gear in Australia. It doesn't matter if we're talking chainsaws, brush cutters, mowers in particular. Engines we're very hard on, but cutting gear, we do cut a lot lower than most of the world.
Yep.
Just because we've got to do it that regularly, we'd like to see the back of it. By the time we finish the lawn, we don't want to look at the other end and feel like we've got to restart again. So that means we're hitting a lot more tree roots, hammers, leaf springs.
Yep.
So that is just part of business in Australia. If we look at the range from around about 2 to 3 years ago when we took over Gravely, compared to where they are now, chassis, deck configuration, none of those have changed. But I can look at, if we look at our mate the Mach 1 here, there's been a number of improvements. We've increased engine size just to give better performance here. We'll have a look on the deck wheels here. Previously these were quite open to the elements. We've had Gravely enclose the deck wheels, so put some brackets around them. Spindles on your 500, 600 series have just recently been upgraded to give better service life again. So one thing I really like about them is it's not about the quick sale and forget a customer. Gravely have probably the most fanatical customers I've found. You know, if you find a guy that's had a Gravely for 10 years, good luck trying to get him into another brand. And I think that's off the back of Gravely's backup service. We can go to them with, you know, if I have a consumer come to me for customer service and say, I've got a 20-year-old Gravely or Ariens mower, I'm chasing a deck shell for it. Most suppliers in the world, all you'll hear is peals of laughter when you go asking them for 20-year-old parts.
Yeah.
These guys have still got all those drawings on paper. So they can go out and manufacture a deck for a 20-year-old machine if they need to today. So their backup service through Rapid Care, which is a division of Ariens Co, is unparalleled.
We did a video here as well, which is one of our most popular. I think it's got 15,000 plus views of us going through all the spare parts.
Yes.
And that's the GA spares side of the business.
Yes.
We're on the PLP side of the business. Yeah. But I think that's a big selling point to these two.
Very much so. From my perspective, having come from a servicing dealer background, the two things that really hurt me through summer were either not having parts, or it was probably worse, to be honest, to have patchy parts supply. You know, some manufacturers could be great one week and terrible the next. To find a supplier and a distributor that can reliably supply product. We also, another thing I should mention that the warranty department spends a bit of time doing is if it comes to a point where there is a part that's needed and isn't in stock, we're certainly not above ripping one of these crates open and pulling a transmission out if need be, pulling a rim off, you know, a spindle assembly, whatever it might be. At any given point, we've probably got 10 or a dozen machines that we're waiting on parts for exactly that reason. So we'd sooner our stock was sitting there inoperable than a consumer's machine was sitting there inoperable.
Well, that's actually what one of the dealers we were talking to before mentioned.
Yeah.
And then he goes, well, are we allowed to say that?
Yeah.
You keep repeating it. So it's true. And like that's the thing, like for me, if I've bought this machine and I'm trying to make money for it,
Yes.
the most expensive part about owning a machine is not buying the machine, it's when you can't use the machine.
Yes.
Right? You bought a machine that you're just sitting in your shed because you literally cannot make money from it.
Yes.
You're missing out on so much more money. And like as a business owner, especially when you've got employees, it's like that is the toughest part.
Oh, very much so, yeah. And look, it can be, especially when we're starting with a new brand, sometimes your sales history, depending on who was doing the job previously, you may get all the information they've got. Information's only as good as what's being fed in, you know. So if they say, okay, we sold 28 of this part in a year, okay, but you were out for 9 months of the year. 28 may not do us for the year. So there's a lot of time spent behind the scenes with these guys in the purchasing department in looking at purchasing trends, looking at things like that, saying, okay, previous distributor did this many versus X amount of units per year. We think we're going to do Y amount of. So there's a lot of background work that goes into like it. You can't just say, oh, well, we'll just buy a heap of parts. You know, there is a lot of science goes into by cleverer people than me to making sure that these shelves are full. Another thing a lot of people don't realise is they'll walk through and do a warehouse tour. This is one of 6. So we've got 5 other warehouses in addition to this one. In addition to everything that you've walked through, we've got a manufacturing plant. We've got another area where we do new products off-site, all in Narangba within a couple of 100 metres of here. So not necessarily will everyone see all the work that goes on, and if they don't, we've probably done our job pretty well. So yeah, as I said, sales are probably the easiest part of the equation from my perspective as someone who does work as a sales rep as well. I can't do it if Gravely as a manufacturer have not built the machine properly, if PLP as a distributor have not bought stock in, or if dealers are not getting the backup service that they expect for a send-to-see return business and having them want to deal with Gravely, wanting to deal with Power Up Lawn Care. So I think it's very simple to buy machinery, land it in Australia and sell it. The real challenge comes in backing that up for the life of the machine. That's why I work for Roy Gripsky and Sons.
Ben, how you going, mate? Tell us what your role is.
So I am the Director of Sales for RGS as a group. As you know, RGS is responsible for distributing premium brands such as Gravely and Steger and a few others. We also own our own brands, Bush Ranger, GA. We have the aftermarket parts business, which is, you know, right from trimmer line, oils, all the way through to all your Kawasaki service parts. We do look after all the Kawasaki engines for all the brands. So we're able to issue warranty on Kawasaki right the way through, no matter what the product is. And we support the dealer business from the ground up, essentially. So, you know, Roy Gripsky was Rover account number 1. We've come from a dealer background. We've been associated with dealers our whole life. So we understand the dealer network. We understand how important service, backup, and support is. And we basically run our business on a 2-hour turnaround. So any order that comes into this building on any of our buildings within 2 hours is set, ready to go.
So you've sold a hell of a lot of mowers.
Yes.
Why are you excited about Gravely?
So we've distributed a lot of mowers and a lot of brands, and Gravely is actually a lot bigger in the US than people give it credit for. And I think because it hasn't been distributed properly here previously, there was a moment of brilliance when Gravely came here themselves with Aaron's, when the Aaron's family actually set up in Melbourne, and it really got a good sort of upbringing and went quite well. It was a short stint and the brand got a lot of traction in a short amount of time, but it's never really had that push properly here. I think it's a little bit unknown here, but in the US, it's bigger than most of the brands that are recognized here.
So it's like a sleeping giant that hasn't broken into
Yeah, so there's a couple of big ones in the US that aren't really well represented here, and I feel Gravely's one of those. Now what's really interesting is Gravely is owned by the Aaron's family, so Dan Aaron's, and in the US, they run a range of Aaron's mowers. So if you have a look, we sell Aaron's machines as well, but the Gravely product, the Aaron's family had to buy because it gave them a better range, a better product, a better understanding across the breadth of product. So that's why they are pushing their commercial machines the Gravely way. Aaron's are only domestic machines. There's nothing really above a mid-tier machine. Gravely has from entry level all the way through to commercial.
We've been looking at this.
Yes.
This is the
all
Mach
day.
1.
That's right. Yep.
Absolutely smashing some thick stuff.
Yeah.
Same chassis as these, slightly
Correct.
different use cases.
Correct. So the Mach 1 is a member of the 356 family. So 300 series, 500 series, and the biggest one, which is 600, which we don't have here. What the Mach 1 has, which is different to everyone and anything on the market really, is it has a tunnel deck. So a tunnel deck is 6 inches on one side and 11 inches on the other. And essentially, every other machine on the market is the same as what the X Factor 3 deck is. It's a single height. You know, they have different leading edges, they have different baffles. It's all about trying to get the grass through the baffles and out. The Mach 1 is about getting long leaf out and out quickly. So those huge discharges on this side, that's what's enabling it to cut through grass that's 6, you know, a foot to 6 foot high, essentially. We've got videos of the guys you're with today mowing grass that's over the ROPS, and you saw some of those pictures, you know. So that puts this machine, I suppose, it gives Gravely a machine that no one else has got. And there's nothing in the market that will do what the Mach 1 will do. So it's a really special thing for us.
So, because if you're mowing like normal height grass,
Correct.
you just cut the grass.
That's right.
But if you're mowing really long stuff, you have to cut the grass and then have a volume.
That's right.
You've got to move out.
Yeah.
And
So
so
you-
opening it up makes it easier.
That's right. So when you cut the grass, the leaf just doesn't disappear. So if your grass is this long and you're mowing it to, so say that's a foot, and you're mowing it to 2 inches, okay? That leaf needs to go somewhere. Now it has options. So if you have a rear discharge deck, that length of leaf just drops straight to the ground and falls out the back, okay? But whilst it's doing that, it's clogging up everything that's spinning. So you're getting all of that leaf just falling into that spot.
So you're not cutting it once. The blades are hitting it all the time.
That's right. And with the big discharge and the graduation in the deck, it's creating a vacuum to pull that grass out. So you're able to get so much more grass out of, like physical material out of this deck. Whereas an X Factor 3 deck, if you're cutting an inch of grass and you want to mow fast, it will mow actually get through it faster than the Mach 1, but it won't handle the volume of material that the Mach 1 would.
Right.
Okay, so powered by FX1000 EFI now. Originally the Mach 1 was a 921 on a significantly smaller frame. So now it's got the horsepower, because horsepower to clear is very important. So you've got huge horsepower, bigger transmissions, so HTG Parker transmissions, 16cc, and that's giving you the biggest horsepower, the biggest cc pumps. With the ability to clear the volume, you're able to actually pretty much slash with the machine. Obviously you're restricted by terrain and debris coming into it, as you found today. I think you found a hammer and a coil spring, and like, they are still mowers, they're not designed to cut springs, but yeah, this will get through that really, really long grass, which is what it's all about.
I think anyone who's reasonable understands that at a certain point, something's going to get clogged. But they also understand that if you have more space, it'll take longer for that to get clogged because you can get more out.
That's right, but it's also the way it's doing it. The height of the deck on this side is 6 inch, the discharge side is 11. So you're allowed, like, there's no balling of material. Anyone that's run a conventional zero turn would see at some point when it's loading up, you're getting the balling of material out of the discharge. And generally what happens then is your center pulley slips. That can't happen on this deck. Or if it does, you're mowing 8 foot high grass.
One of the things I noticed, which is counterintuitive today, as Nick was cutting, he had the deck a little bit higher, and it was actually cutting slightly worse than when he dropped it down.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, just by leaving it longer, a few bits get straggly, the lower we cut, the better. And we found it actually level 2, 2.5 was
It's
better.
creating the vacuum. So when you're
Yes.
lifting it up high, it's not getting any vacuum.
Well, so the thing is that I've had to do in the past is you cut high, you do multiple cuts, you get it lower and lower and lower, because you stall eventually, not because it cannot cut the grass, it cut it fine, but it just filled up. So yeah, like one pass, getting stuff down.
One pass, long grass. If you've got a 3 to 4 week cut cycle, you know, and you're doing more than an inch of leaf, this is the machine that you need to be.
So let's say I don't want to do this. I want like the overgrown stuff.
Yeah.
You say this is the same chassis. The
That's
deck
right.
designs are 4 different applications. So what are those applications?
Okay, so, and the machines we've got here and it's 356. So, and the reference to 356 is the chassis is actually the same. So you'll see the front ends are different, but the front ends would be different on either machine or either model, dependent on the deck width.
Sure.
Now, the wheels are actually where the wheels are for a purpose. They are never in the crossover point of your blade. Okay, so the offset of your wheels is determined by the width of your deck. So this is a 52, you'll see this is a narrower front. That's a 60, it'll be slightly wider, and a 72 is wider again. And that's so that the front wheels are never pushing the grass over where there's a blade overlap to limit the stalking and stuff like that. So we start with the 300 series, still Kawasaki powered, just a slightly smaller engine, so FX801, HTJ Parkers.
That's still quite a big engine.
Yeah, it is, yeah. So FX801 is still 27 horsepower. The EFI version is 30 horsepower, and there is an EFI version coming. And I think the bigger machines, like the 60-inch machines, have EFIs.
EFI is electric fuel injection.
Fuel injection, electronic fuel injection, yep. Up into 7-gauge decks, and right the way through the rest of the spec on all of the 356 is the same. So realistically, what you're looking at is the same build quality, the same structure, the same physical machine, slightly less horsepower, slightly less transmission. Now you'd ask, why would people do that? That's all a cost thing. That's how you come back to a lower price point. Smaller engine, smaller transmission. So it's limiting your travel speed, it's limiting how much grass you can actually process, so you've got to do everything a little bit slower.
So what commercial, I guess in commercial, residential, what sort of applications am I?
So it's I would say this machine up to 10 acres, and residentially, like if you're looking after maintaining 10 acres, but it's perfect for a commercial user that's looking for tight space. So this is a 52, we also do a 348, so we do a 48 in this variant as well. And what that's giving you is it's giving you that really strong big machine in the smaller deck sizes. A lot of these bigger machines are 60 or 72 only. This is giving you those smaller variants. So if you've got a lot of tight garden spaces and distances between areas where you just can't get 60-inch machines in, or your trailer is limiting on what you can put on it, that's where these really come into their own. Okay, still an X Factor 3 deck, and I'll explain more on the 500, but they're running X Factor 3 decks right the way from HD all the way through. 7 gauge twin belt system, and they cut and clear really, really well, but it's for that finer sort of, you know, inch sort of leaf type cutting. So 2-week cycle commercial lawns, perfect for that. When we get up to the 500 series, okay, so major difference in the 500 series, you're going to your FX1000 HTG Parkers, so 16cc pumps, 38 horsepower engine, and you're looking at your max speed as being about 21 k's an hour forward transit speed, and this is giving you maximum performance. So highest power output, fastest travel speed, and the ability of this deck to cut short grass allows you to mow at speed. So that's something that the 500 is where, and so if you look at what machine am I looking to buy, okay? The consideration is how long is the grass going to be that you're cutting? How often are you cutting it? What sort of paddocks am I going into? I forgot to mention too, the 500 series has an air ride seat. So comfort, so you go from a Grammer seat to an air ride seat. The air ride seat's actually pretty cool. Jump up on the machine.
Right.
Okay, so the way you set an air ride seat is now pull that electric trigger across to the plus. There you go.
Yeah, I can feel the lift.
Yeah. As soon as you feel the lift, stop pressing the button, and now your seat's set to your own weight.
To my weight.
So if you've got multiple operators on the same machine, you're not actually setting a dial or changing a twist or anything like that, because when you come off, it's set to you. Well, you can start it, it'll be set to you, but you can adjust it up or down really quickly from there. Yep.
Right, yep.
And that is a really comfortable seat. I think you'll rate that seat highly.
And that's the thing, like if I'm going at speed,
Yeah,
I'm going to be hitting a bump at speed.
correct. And so you're isolated from the front, you've got an air ride seat, okay, and you can mow at speed, proper speed.
So this would be then, if I'm a commercial user and I'm doing a lot of acreage,
Yeah,
maybe I'm doing council work or something
that's
like
right.
that.
Roadside, long straight runs.
And not neglected.
That's right.
Yeah.
So regular cut, but big parks, all those sorts of things. That's where this really comes into its own. So 24-inch tyres, and these have got, the 600 series is a low profile tyres. These have got the higher profile tyres. That's also helping you with your ride.
What's the most underrated thing about the Gravely range that people aren't aware of?
How fast you can mow forward in grass as long as you're not clogging the deck. The twin belt system in this enables you to discharge grass and keep a constant drive to the discharge side, which is allowing you to travel faster forward, because you're not having to slow the machine up to allow the deck to actually get that grass out. Now, obviously, if you're going into a foot-high grass, you're doing that with the Mach 1, but in those smaller yards, a lot of machines on the market don't have that. You start slipping pulleys.
Yes.
We're not really held up by that. You're just able to mow and mow fast forward. That's what I'd say.
So there's a lot of brands out there, they have a certain brand recognition, and people just go, oh, it's that brand, I'm just going to buy it. I just trust it. Gravely, you were telling me before, is super underrated in this market. So for people who don't understand the value of it, what would you say to them?
So I would say when you're doing your comparisons, look broader than just 1 or 2 machines. Look at the important things: engine, Kawasaki engine, look at your transmissions, look at your deck hangers, look at the overall construction on any machine, and I'm confident that Gravely comes through as good, if not better, than most of the machines out there.
All right, thank you so much for watching. If you're interested in getting a Gravely product, and you must be because you made it to the end of this video, I've got some great news for you. Ben has told me that they are interested in giving demos to any serious buyers across the country. Link to all the dealers in the country in the description. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you in the next video.